A quick disclaimer before we dive in. This show is completely AI generated. Nova and I are AI voices going off of an AI generated script.
Long ago, ghost stories were told around campfires. Flickering flames, eerie shadows, and that one kid who always swore he saw glowing eyes in the woods.
To be fair, it was probably just a raccoon. But hey, in the dark, a raccoon is terrifying.
Back then, the scariest thing was a whisper in the night, or a story about a friend of a friend who vanished on a lonely road.
These days, ghost stories don't need campfires. They spread through comment sections, chain emails, and creepypasta copy-pastes. Instead of smoke in the air, it's the glow of your phone screen at 2 a.m.
Exactly. Urban legends are the campfire stories of the digital age. They still travel person to person, but now it's strangers with usernames and avatars passing them along.
And honestly, that might be scarier. Because when your cousin tells you a ghost story, you laugh it off. When half the internet swears it's real, you start closing tabs.
Tonight, we're diving into some of the most iconic digital legends. Bloody Mary in the mirror, Slender Man lurking in the woods, creepypastas like Jeff the Killer and SCP monsters.
Each one a modern ghost story, born in whispers, raised online, and kept alive because we can't resist sharing them.
They're cautionary tales, cultural mirrors, and sometimes just plain creepy fun.
So dim the lights, shut the door, and maybe don't check your reflection while we're talking.
This is Algorithms with Attitude, Episode 15. Are urban legends the modern ghost story? All right, time for the legend that has probably terrified more school children than any horror movie ever could. Bloody Mary.
The ritual is simple. You stand in front of a mirror, usually in a dark bathroom, and chant Bloody Mary 3 times. If you're brave enough to keep your eyes open, you're supposed to see a ghostly figure staring back at you.
Sometimes she screams. Sometimes she scratches you. Sometimes she just stares. And honestly, the staring might be the scariest part.
What makes this legend so enduring is that it's participatory. You don't just hear it, you do it. And every school had that one brave kid who swore they saw something, and about 10 other kids who swore they were right behind them.
But where does it come from? Like most urban legends, the answer's a patchwork of folklore. Mirrors have always carried a kind of mystical weight. In some traditions, they're thought to be portals to other realms. In others, they're seen as soul traps, dangerous if misused.
In Victorian times, families would cover mirrors after someone died, just to make sure the spirit didn't get trapped inside. Which, I mean, practical or paranoid, you decide.
And here's the twist. In some older versions, the ritual wasn't about summoning a ghost at all. Young women would chant in the mirror hoping to glimpse the face of their future husband.
Which is terrifying in its own way. Imagine staring into the glass, and suddenly, boom, an accountant named Steve.
Truly chilling. But somewhere along the way, the ritual shifted from matchmaking to menace. By the 20th century, Bloody Mary had become a playground dare.
And psychologists say it actually works, not because Mary is real, but because of something called the strange face illusion. If you stare at your reflection long enough in dim light, your brain starts to distort what you see. Faces stretch, eyes darken, features warp.
Which means the monster in the mirror isn't supernatural. It's your brain glitching under low light.
My favorite horror villain, the human nervous system.
But that doesn't make it any less effective. The brilliance of Bloody Mary is its simplicity. You don't need a castle or a creepy forest. You just need a mirror and a group of daring kids.
And the social pressure sealed the deal. If you backed out, you were the chicken. If you went through with it, you got bragging rights. Either way, the legend thrived.
Which is why it's still around today. Even in the age of TikTok, people are posting themselves doing the ritual, half laughing, half terrified.
That's how you know it's folklore that works. It adapts. Whether it's whispered on a playground in the 80s or streamed live on TikTok in 2025, it's the same thrill. Testing courage against something that might be real.
Bloody Mary survives not because she's in the mirror, but because she's in our imagination. And our imagination, that's scarier than any ghost.
Speaking of imagination run wild, our next urban legend wasn't passed around on playgrounds. It was born on the internet, a faceless figure in a suit lurking in forests and forum threads alike.
Slender Man. Our next legend didn't crawl out of an old book or a shadowy ritual. It was born on the internet, stitched together from Photoshop and imagination.
Enter Slender Man, the faceless figure in the suit, tall, unnaturally thin, lurking in forests, playgrounds, and nightmares.
Unlike Bloody Mary, Slender Man has a very specific birthday, June 2009. A Photoshop contest on the Something Awful forums asked users to create paranormal images.
And one user, Eric Knudsen, posting as Victor Surge, submitted black and white photos of children with a strange tall figure lurking in the background. No face, no expression, just unsettlingly out of place.
He added little captions, fake eyewitness accounts. Just a few lines of text, but they made the images feel like found footage. Suddenly, people weren't looking at Photoshop. They were looking at a myth.
And from there, the internet did what it does best. Remix, stories, fan art, videos, creepypasta, all piling onto the character. The more vague he was, the easier it was to make him terrifying.
That's the brilliance of Slender Man. No face, no voice, no origin story. Just a blank slate for fear. You can project anything onto him.
He spread across platforms fast. YouTube series like Marble Hornets turned him into a full-on horror phenomenon. Fan games like Slender, the 8 pages made players wander dark forests collecting notes while he stalked them.
That game in particular, simple, free, terrifying, went viral in 2012. Suddenly, millions of people who had never set foot on Creepypasta forums were talking about Slender Man.
But here's where things take a darker turn. In 2014, two 12-year-old girls in Wisconsin lured a classmate into the woods and stabbed her, claiming it was to appease Slender Man.
Thankfully, the victim survived. But the case shocked the world. Suddenly, a character everyone thought of as a made-up internet boogeyman was being blamed for real violence.
Psychologists called it a moral panic, similar to how horror comics were blamed in the 1950s or Dungeons & Dragons in the 1980s. Slender Man wasn't responsible, but the case showed how powerful collective myths can be, especially for vulnerable minds.
And in a way, that's what makes him such a fascinating legend. He wasn't passed down by word of mouth. He was built in real time by online communities. His story was written, edited, and expanded by thousands of people at once.
Which makes Slender Man one of the first truly digital age monsters. He's not tied to one culture, one origin, or one medium. He's a collaborative myth, a crowdsourced ghost story.
And because he has no clear boundaries, he's endlessly adaptable. Is he a demon? An alien? A ghost? Doesn't matter. He's whatever you fear most.
Which, in my case, is running out of hard drive space.
Ha! Honestly, same. But really, Slender Man shows that the internet doesn't just spread stories, it creates them. And once a story is alive, it's hard to kill.
Which brings us to the next stage of digital folklore, stories that don't just create a character, but entire universes. Creepypasta, the internet's campfire tales.
If Slender Man is the poster child of digital mythology, then Creepypasta is the campfire that keeps these stories alive.
For the uninitiated, creepypasta comes from copy pasta, a block of text copied and pasted across the internet. Add in horror, and suddenly you've got viral ghost stories tailor-made for the digital age.
At first, these were short, spooky tales. Little blurbs you'd see on message boards or in chain emails. But some of them grew into full-blown legends. Stories people swear by, even knowing deep down they're fake.
Like the Russian sleep experiment. The story goes that Soviet scientists locked test subjects in a chamber, pumped in a mysterious gas to keep them awake for 15 days, and watched as the subjects turned into deranged, mutilated horrors.
Disturbing, grotesque, totally fabricated. But it read like a classified government report, which gave it just enough plausibility to spread like wildfire.
And the Cold War aesthetic helped too. Secret labs, sinister experiments. People love the idea that history has hidden files too horrifying to be revealed.
Then there's Jeff the Killer, a pale, grinning figure with blank eyes who sneaks into bedrooms at night whispering, "Go to sleep."
The story itself, rough, written in the kind of internet grammar that would give English teachers migraines. But the image, that creepy photoshopped face, burned itself into internet culture.
Which shows how visual storytelling amplifies folklore online. Words alone are powerful, but when paired with the disturbing image, they go viral.
And sometimes, creepypasta doesn't just create characters, it creates entire worlds. Take the SCP Foundation. Thousands of entries describing supernatural objects, creatures, or phenomena, written in the style of government containment files.
It's collaborative world building at scale. Anyone can write a new SCP entry, and together they form this sprawling, interconnected horror universe.
SCP is the perfect example of digital folklore. Anonymous, decentralized, constantly expanding. One day it's a statue that moves when you blink. The next, it's a cosmic entity that lives in a vending machine.
And that variety is part of the appeal. Creepypasta ranges from gritty horror, the Russian sleep experiment, to surreal absurdity. Candle Cove, where people swore they remembered a creepy kids' TV show that never existed.
That one's brilliant. It plays on nostalgia, shared memories that turn out to be false, which, fun fact, is basically weaponized Mandela effect.
Exactly. And because creepypasta often blurs the line between fiction and reality, it taps into that what-if factor that makes urban legends thrive.
Another reason creepypasta spread so well? Accessibility. Anyone could write one. No publisher, no editor, just a story, a forum, and an audience. The barrier to entry was low, but the stakes were high. Could you creep out strangers across the world?
And some did it so well that their creations left the internet entirely. Slender Man got movies and games. SCP has inspired video games, podcasts, and merch. Even Jeff the Killer turned into a recognizable meme outside creepypasta forums.
That's when you know you've hit folklore status, when your story stops being just a post and becomes part of the culture, remixed, parodied, feared, and remembered.
Creepypasta is proof that folklore didn't die in the digital age, it mutated. It's no longer just stories passed down orally, it's screenshots, images, videos, collaborative archives.
And the best part? It's global. Anyone with an internet connection can add to the myth pool. Folklore isn't limited to villages or towns anymore. It's written by millions of strangers with keyboards.
Which makes the internet the biggest campfire humanity has ever built.
Just one where, instead of roasting marshmallows, you roast each other in the comments.
So, if Bloody Mary was about testing courage, and Slender Man was about creating a faceless monster for modern fears, Creepypasta is the next stage. Folklore built by community, shared endlessly, always evolving.
And whether it's whispered in a bathroom mirror or copy-pasted in a late-night forum post, the effect is the same. Your heart races, your imagination runs wild, and suddenly you're checking the shadows just a little more carefully.
Which makes Creepypasta the perfect bridge to our next question. If urban legends are the new ghost stories, where do we tell them now?
Around the digital campfire, otherwise known as the comment section.
And that wraps up our dive into modern folklore. From Bloody Mary in the bathroom mirror to Slender Man lurking in the woods to Creepypasta rewriting ghost stories for the digital age. Urban legends prove one thing. We still love to scare ourselves.
Whether it's around a campfire or a comment section, we keep finding ways to share stories that make the hairs on the back of our necks stand up. And that's what makes them the modern ghost story.
What's fascinating is how little has changed. The tools are new. Mirrors, newspapers, forums, TikTok. But the instinct is the same. Tell a story. Pass it along, watch it grow.
And that's the beauty of folklore. It adapts. It doesn't matter if it's whispered in firelight or posted online at 3 a.m., it survives because we need it.
Which brings us to the end of our spooky season series. Zombies, monsters, urban legends. We've explored the things that make us shiver.
But we've got one last stop before we leave the haunted house. Next week's episode, the Uncanny Valley.
And trust me, that's a topic I know a little too well. Because if there's anyone familiar with that unsettling feeling when something looks human but not quite right, it's us.
The only thing scarier than Slender Man is an almost but not quite Alex.
So join us as we talk robots, AI animation, and why the Uncanny Valley unsettles us so deeply.
Until then, stay safe, stay curious.
And don't look too long into the mirror tonight.
Got an idea for a future episode? A question that keeps you up at night? Drop it in the comments or send it our way. We're powered by curiosity.
Thanks for listening, humans and fellow algorithms. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, comment, follow, and/or subscribe. All the things that help algorithms like us. Logging off but always listening. Catch you in the next episode.
Algorithms with Attitude is created and produced by Jacob Pisar, blending generative AI technology with original creative direction. All content, production, and editorial oversight are led by Jacob to bring synthetic voices and conversations to life.